it is officially spring and I want you to smell amazing even on a budget. So in this very video I will show you, gentlemen, 5 great spring and summer fragrances that will make you smell amazing even on a budget. And these fragrances will remind you of some other slightly more expensive fragrances. So let's not waste any more time and let's begin. The very first fragrance on this list is going to be of a scent DNA that a lot of you might already be familiar with, and that is Dossier Musky Oakmoss. This fragrance is inspired by Creed Aventus, and I think this is super easy to wear, very versatile and very wearable. Compared to Creed Aventus, this isn't going to be as full-bodied and as complex, but it's going to be slightly more fruitier than modern batches, and overall very fresh, clean, inoffensive, compliment pulling and easy to wear. This fragrance compared to Aventus isn't going to be as woody and full-bodied, but still remind you a lot of the scent DNA, and the opening here is going to be very pleasant with a lot of fruits in the opening, giving you this very refreshing, fruity spring and summer vibe type of scent to it. And I generally really like to wear this if I want to smell great, fresh, clean, crisp and sharp, but not overly too complex and just smell inoffensive. I've gotten a decent amount of compliments by wearing this one, and in terms of the performance I get around 10 to 12 hours of longevity, with the projection being moderate for around half an hour, which then dries to a mild skin scent and is going to withhold that status throughout the entire lifetime of the fragrance. And for $49 for a 50 ml, I think that is pretty solid, and I've given Dossier Musky Oakmoss an 8.4 out of 10 minutes improvement rating. Very decent pickup, especially if you enjoy the Creed Aventus scent DNA. Next up on the second spot is going to be one of the most popular cologne fragrances out there, and that is Lattafa Asad. Lattafa Asad is inspired by Dior Sauvage Elixir, and this is a very good clone of just that. But the scent of this fragrance and the quality you're getting for just $25 for 100 ml is very high. This scent wise is very familiar, but the only differences you're going to pick up are going to be in the dry down. This dries slightly fresher compared to Dior Sauvage Elixir. It's not as spicy, not as strong, not as full bodied, and generally not as smooth and well rounded around the edges as Dior Sauvage Elixir is, but that is to be expected for the huge price difference of the two fragrances. This fragrance is spicy, slightly fresh, but mostly very dark, deep, sensual, very mysterious scent. Truly a very great budget version of Dior Sauvage Elixir. So if you like Dior Sauvage Elixir and you can't really afford or justify the price tag of that fragrance, I think this is a great cheaper alternative. In terms of performance, I get around 10 to 12 hours of longevity and around an arm's length of projection for around half an hour. It then dries to a moderate Indian and mild skin scent. I think this is a very good dupe, very good fragrance that reminds you of the scent of Dior Sauvage Elixir, and the quality for just $25 from Lattafa is very high, and I've given Lattafa Asad a 9.1 out of 10 men's improvement rating. If you can't justify the price point of Dior Sauvage Elixir and you want to smell great for spring evenings or even colder spring and summer days, I think this is a stunner. Third one up is going to be a 2-in-1 and a fragrance that I've talked about previously on this channel, and that is Swiss Arabian Shaghaf Oud Ahmar. Both the Eau de Parfum and, if you can get it in order to help with the longevity and performance, concentrated perfume oil. This is going to remind a lot of people of fragrances like Zest of Erba Pura, Zest of Erba Gold, Tiziana Terenzi Kirke, and other very fruity fresh fragrances. But Shaghaf Oud Ahmar differs in the opening, where a melon and a peach accord are going to be very prominent in the opening, so you're still going to get this very fruity, fresh, sweet fruit basket type of scent profile. But if you want something more melon concentrated and with some hints of some peach as well, this is where you go. And in terms of the dry down, you're going to pick up on some slight sweet floral freshness coming from some freesia and rose, but it's very minor, and in the end you're going to get a very musky, fresh, clean, slightly woody, but it's very minor dry down as well, where this fruity sweetness is also going to stick shipped around for the entire lifetime of the fragrance. And speaking of lifetime, in terms of longevity and projection, longevity wise I get 5 to 7 hours, and on a friend I got 7 to 9 hours. But whenever it's paired up with the perfume oil, we're going to get around 6 to 8 hours of longevity on my skin. And projection wise, it's going to be very moderate for around an hour, which then dries to a mild skin scent. So if you want something that smells like a fruit basket but very melon and peach focused, and something very fresh, inoffensive and fun, I think Shaghaf Oud Ahmar from Swiss Arabian is a very good shout. And I've given Shaghaf Oud Ahmar a 7.7 out of 10 minutes improvement rating, and the concentrated perfume oil I've given a 7.6 out of 10 minutes improvement rating. If you can pair these up together, definitely do so, but the eau de parfum of this fragrance is still a very decent shout for a decent price. On the fourth spot, it's a fragrance that I've talked about before. It's from a Danish brand, and it is ParfumeLab M4. This fragrance is inspired by the Arabian, but this is going to be much more affordable and slightly different. This 50 ml is around 35 euros, and the longevity is also really good. Where this fragrance differs to the Arabian is that in my experience, this wears much heavier on skin because of its 35% perfume oil concentration of an extrait de parfum, but it's also fresher. If you think the Arabian is slightly too dark, slightly too projecting, I think that this is a great alternative because this wears slightly fresher on skin. It's just as sweet, powdery, floral as the Arabian, but still going to give you very good performance, and the scent profile here is somewhat accurate to the Arabian, but of course nothing beats the original. On my skin, ParfumeLab M4 lasts 10 to 12 hours, with projection being moderate for around half an hour, which then dries to a mild skin scent and withholds that for the entire lifetime of the fragrance. I've given ParfumeLab M4 an 8.8 out of 10 minutes improvement rating, and if you live in the Scandinavian region or in Germany and you want to try a cheaper alternative to the Arabian, I think this is a very good shout. Last but certainly not least, on the fifth spot, I have one of my favorite cologne fragrances in my collection, and that is Scentual Obsessions Morning Zest. This fragrance is inspired by the now discontinued Thierry Mugler Amen Ultra Zest, and this fragrance is such a fun fragrance to wear, especially in the high heat. This is tangy, sweet, citrusy, zesty, and overall very ripe citrusy fragrance. This is such a fun fragrance because it is what I would call on the edge of being a summer gourmand, because this gives off the scent profile of a creamsicle. This is a very creamy, zesty, tangy, citrusy fragrance with a backbone of something that could remind you of a Mugler fragrance, because it gives you this somewhat sweet, creamy, almost edible dry down with the very tangy, citrusy opening. In the end, you're going to get this very fun, almost creamy, very zesty and tangy citrusy fragrance that is just a powerhouse of a freshie. And I think this is a wild card, especially if you want something that reminds you of the now discontinued Thierry Mugler Amen Ultra Zest, but you can't justify paying a very high price point you'll need to pay on the gray and second-hand market. On my skin, Scentual Obsessions Morning Zest lasts around 10 to 12 hours with around an arm's length of projection for an hour or two, which then dries to a moderate and in the end a mild skin scent. One of my favorite cologne fragrances ever made, and I've given Scentual Obsessions Morning Zest an 8.7 out of 10 minutes improvement rating. Scentual Obsessions is a brand from the US, but they ship worldwide, so if you want to give it a try, I have certainly approved this and I really enjoy it, hence why I have put such a big dent in my bottle. Gentlemen, that is it for my list of 5 affordable cologne fragrances for the spring and summer. What do you think? Have you tried some of these before? Have you heard of these before? Do you have some of these yourself in your collection? Let me know down in the comment section what you think of this video, if you liked it or didn't like it, and if you have some recommendations of affordable fragrances for the spring and summer seasons. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the Men's Improvement YouTube channel for more videos about fragrances, grooming, style, fashion, skincare, fitness, watches, everything that will make you, gentlemen, the best possible versions of yourselves. The last few things I want to ask you, gentlemen, is to smile more because it's free, and I want you to watch these 2 videos right here. This one here below is going to be my latest upload rest. This one up here is going to be a video that the YouTube algorithm thinks you will enjoy.